Hello, it's me. It's me, Derek, the star of the show. I'm just looking down at all of your comments already. Taylor and Matthew and Dalad, Doherty, Madrigal, Neve, Nia, Hyper Spider. I think there's a bee in here or a wasp or something. I haven't seen a bee or wasp all year, and one time I opened my window at 9 o'clock in the morning and one of them comes in. So if I manfully run screaming from this room, you will know why. Okay? If I bravely face down and then run away from, um, a wasp, then, I mean, you won't tell anyone, obviously, because I'm your hero. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to give you the rules. No spoilers. None. Um, if you have Seasons of War, we're not going to be discussing that, to be honest. I know it's a bummer for those of you who have read the book, but most people haven't, either because they like to prolong the experience, or more likely, they don't have a copy. I would be on tour right now, but normally the book would be available everywhere, but not right now. So we're doing our best. This is one of our attempts to alleviate the pressure on you home, isolating, presumably. So yes, okay. By the way, hi Australia and New Zealand and everyone who wasn't able to make it last time, and also people who were able to make it last time and are coming back because you just can't get enough of the D-Man. Okay, yes, no spoilers. We are absolutely okay. Don't even post spoilers in the questions because some people might read them. Okay, now I'm going to start. There's Owen. Hi, Owen. How do you pronounce China? Do you say it like the country or China? China. That's how you pronounce it. I have found over the years that because I write books where the characters make their own names, and you have some names that aren't even names, like Darkess and Argedian. I do get a lot of, how do you pronounce this? And then there's words like sanguine, like Billy Ray Sanguine. Is it sanguine? Is it sanguine? Is it sanguini? Sanguine. But yes, yeah. No, yeah. Jack. Hi, Jack Wilkinson. You're welcome for the Australia friendly time. You're welcome. Now I'm going to be getting questions in, and I'm reading them as I down. Marina, a fly entered through your window, right? I mean, so I've got like a wasp or a bee or something. So yeah, totally understand. On the chat, Russell is the moderator, and he's posting links to books and stuff. So I'm terrible at that. Owen O'Brien. So Owen, you started pronouncing it China, and you just can't stop. You poor person. You stupid person. But neither here nor there. Taris. Ooh, Taris Darling. Good name. Taylor. Bam Pixie. Oh wait, it's not a wasp, it's a little fly. Well, then I will not be running. I mean, I wouldn't be anyway, but yeah, not be running. Oh yeah, look. I finally got it. Now, in my screen, this is back to front, so hopefully in your screen, it's yesterday. I got 2 of these. One is going on my shelf. Laura is reading the other one. She's very excited. She won't read anything until it's in a book form. So I have my copy, and it's so pretty, and I have it. And as you probably know, there you go. You can go there. You can go there. Don't fall over. Don't fall over. He's falling over. Okay, there you go. As you probably know, I have been running 13 days of Skulduggery on the lead up to it, and as soon as I get my big box of books, because HarperCollins sent me a huge box, and then I will be able to start to doodle them. I'll see how many I have, and then I will start to pick the winners. Just randomly pick whoever has entered and use the hashtag. I will just be scrolling through the hashtag, and I will pick people at random, and we'll get in contact and whatever else. And then I'll doodle all over the books. From that moment on, it will be difficult because there's no way of knowing how and when I'll be able to get those books out there into the wider world. So you might be waiting weeks, you might be waiting months. We don't know. But rest assured there will be a book waiting for you. Okay. Just Joey. Are warlocks and witches human? Yes. Yes, they are. They are. They're source. And number 8 was war. What were books 9 to 13, and what genre is the next one going to be? Yeah, I said book 1 was adventure. Second was a monster movie. Third was oh my god, what was third? A mystery. Fourth was Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Fifth was, oh my god, it's been so long since I've done this that I can't remember which each of them was. Number 9, The Dying of the Light, was the first one, the first book I'd done, which I didn't have a specific genre going in. So I packed it full of everything. And since then, phase 2, I've been on the same kind of track. I haven't approached it in that way because that's not really sustainable. I'd only end up repeating myself with the genre. So now every book is kind of open, wide open, and I can do whatever I want. Incognite. Huh? Hey, Derek, if you read this, who would be the stronger? Someone who learned their true name or someone who has no true name, i.e. the unnamed? Learn their true name. Yeah. With someone who doesn't have a true name, well, I mean, because someone who doesn't have a true name, yeah, that would be like the unnamed, or like Valkyrie, because she doesn't have a true name anymore. So yeah, it's those people their power levels have yet to be decided upon, and so it's the people who learn their true names that do the right things after that to learn to expand their knowledge. They theoretically are the stronger. And also the incognite. How do you come up with your names, both characters and objects and other things? I have. This is the book, the notebook that I first had the idea. Okay, I was in London, and I first had the idea for the characters, and since then, this is the see all these. These are random names. Some I've used, some I haven't, some I haven't yet. You can see. Oh dear! Oh dear! All the post-it notes. Okay, here, Saracen Rue. You've Valkyrie Kane, Skulduggery Pleasant, Gashes folks. This is where I wrote down everyone. And basically, what I do is whenever I'm on tour and I sign, thousands of books from weird people. Some of those weird people have weird names. And they go on post-it notes, and the post-it notes go into this. And so naming characters all depends. Sometimes the name will tell me who the character is. Sometimes I'll need a character. I'll come up with the character first, and I'll search around for a name. So it's just, I basically keep track of unusual names, words that could become names, and I write them down into that notebook. And then when I need one, I flick through it. Susan O'Connor Clark. Hi, Susan. What inspired you to write Skulduggery? My wonderful thing. I don't know. The idea just popped into my head. No idea where it came from. But since then, it immediately became apparent to me that this is a character and a situation and a world in which I could put everything that I. Where the idea came from, I don't know. But the inspiration, the stuff that inspires me, is everything I've always loved in movies and TV and on books and comics and songs even. Micah or Mika. Is being such a brilliant writer a gift or a curse? Finally, we get to the big questions. Both. It is a curse to be so gifted, and it is a gift to be so cursed. Okay. Noah Dukin. Can you tell us anything about Cradles of Magic? Well, there are, from what we know, 3 of them in Ireland, in Africa, and in Australia. And what can I tell you about them? 2 of those places are warmer than the other. That's really it. Luke Bryden. Those are brilliant. Thank you. They are quite wonderful. I'm just looking at the screen and seeing what you can see. You got Star Wars. You got horror here. Batman. Star Wars again. That is from the Big Lebowski. Buffy. Some horror stuff over here. And my house is full of that kind of stuff. This is a tiny sample. This is the stuff I can fear. My house is nerd heaven. Onyx Trilogy. When will the winner's name get announced? As soon as I get my big box of books. Tilly Newland. What would Valkyrie's favorite band be? A lot of the time, I mean, some of my characters, like Valkyrie, for instance, she's based on a real person. But because I don't consult real people on the characters they've inspired all the time, a lot of me goes into each character. And that's not to say that Valkyrie's favorite band is my favorite band, because I don't know if I have a favorite band. And so I don't know if Valkyrie has a favorite band. We have favorite albums at the time. So yeah, I don't know if she does. When she was a teenager, she loved Muse. I can tell you that much, because the real Valkyrie loved Muse. So yeah, maybe Muse still. Um, Karapoff. Do you listen to music while you write? Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. If there is stuff going on in my house, see, I can either write like this, silence, maybe a bird outside, or yeah, so I can write like this, or I can write with music. I cannot write silence, but I hear a TV in the background, or voices, or movement. So when that happens, I have to drown it out with music. And I don't play anything with lyrics, because then I'll end up writing the lyrics. So I listen to soundtracks, to movie scores. Pirates of the Caribbean for big swashbuckling. Practically all of the Marvel soundtracks. Horror soundtracks as well. For those scary moments, for those tense moments. And then if I'm feeling romantic, it'll be that of the Mohicans in the background, just to end the day perfectly. Winter Soldiers. I have been trying to get into comics for years. You would think, as a best-selling author, that it would be easy. I would just call them up and they go, yes, here you go. But I didn't know how to do that at all. I didn't know who to approach, didn't know who to talk to. And then I got a tweet. One evening from a girl called Alana Smith, who is an editor at Marvel. And she said, basically, I like the books, and if you ever want to write a Marvel comic, let me know. And immediately I said, yes, hello, how are you? Yes, please, that would be nice. So that's it. After all that time of struggling and trying to find someone, they came an amount of readers. And so I'm a likely candidate. But if you're not me and you want to get into writing comics or making comics, or drawing, lettering, coloring, whatever, inking, you have to make them. Go off and you make your own. You find a collaborator. If you're an artist, if you are an artist and you don't have anyone to write your scripts, write an action scene, write a big fight scene, and just show people that you can make one panel correspond to the previous and flow into the next. If you're a writer, find an artist. If you can't find an artist, draw it yourself. It'll be rubbish, but you'll be telling a story. So people who aren't in the position I was in, the only way to get yourself noticed is to do your own small, tiny, photocopied comics, because then someone, an editor or a talent scout from the comics, will be able to actually pick it up and see your talents, if you have any. Amanda. Hello, Amanda. Amanda Warwick. Are the books split into trilogies? Yes, loose trilogies, but trilogies. Each trilogy tends to be about one specific overriding threat. They're all linked because they're one continuing story. But yeah, I like to have my trilogies. It's my control freak in me going, no, this is the Faces ones trilogy, this is the Darkess, this is the, whatever else. So the from books 10 to 12, 10, 11, and 12, they were the Abyssinia trilogy. And now we're on to the final trilogy, and you're not going to know what that is until the end. Aidan, hello Aidan Mulligan. Are there any inspirations that you have from writers of comics, films, book, influential works, and artists that inspire me? So, book-wise, it would be a Texan, a crime/horror writer, Joe Lansdale, who's Joe or Lansdale, wonderful. Then there's Joe Hill, horror, astonishing. Grady Hendrix is my new favorite, absolutely brilliant. Joe Abercrombie writes fantasy, and they're hilarious and probably the best fight scenes and battle scenes I've ever read. So books are a huge part of my inspiration. Comics, there's too many to name. I grew up on comics. Movies, I'm looking at a picture from E.T., Spielberg, and Reanimator, and Evil Dead, and so many. A lot of 80s movies, bizarrely. I don't know why. Because they're the best. Where am I going? Oh my God, look at all these. Okay. Andrew Sermon, how? Nope. Andrew Sermon. How do you keep track of the mini storylines and blend them into the overarching story? Andrew, I swear to God, I wish I was better at this. No, okay. With the overarching story and with the threads that weave in and out, I'm fairly good at keeping track. I'm bad at keeping track of details. Like, I will have someone say that this is the first time we've met. This is the first time I've met another character, and then in a later book I'll have them say we've known each other for centuries, and it won't click with me that I've contradicted myself. So in future books I then have to try and explain this or just admit my mistake. But the overarching stuff, I go into, when I start a series, when I started before book 1 and then again before book 10, I had what I need to have, and I have, okay, so in this book I need 1, 2, 3, 4 things to happen. In the next one I need this secret to be revealed, this betrayal, this something, this, and so I have it all mapped out that I have to hit. So every time I go to write a new book, it's a process of discovery for me, not even just for you, but for me as a writer. I'm figuring out what this book is. But before I got to each of those stages, I had it planned out. The overarching stuff, I had them planned out. And there's other stuff that pop up as you write. There are seeds that you don't think are seeds that just sprout, and they take you in different directions, and mostly you've got to go with these directions. Other times you go, no, I'm sticking to my plan because the plan is science and it is scientific and it's this and this. So you allow everything else to flow, but this is a steel bar that does not bend. Okay. And do I ever get writer's block, Anastasia? Before I get to Anastasia, Grace has asked, who are my favorite characters to write about? Hi, Grace. My favorite character to write about is Valkyrie. She's, I adore her, I love her, and if I didn't love her, then I would not be able to write these books. I adore everything about her character, and I love spending time with her. Skulduggery obviously is a blast, and Omen has proven to be and he has proven to be a revelation. He has proven to be me as a teenager, a shy, kind of bumbling, unsure of himself idiot, just wandering around. That was me. That was me. To a degree, I was obviously way cooler. But yeah. And in the course of writing Omen, I've just been able to relive those times, which is nice. Anastasia Baker. Do you ever get writer's block? Small little moments where I don't know what I'm doing. So you go for a walk, you play a video game, you read a book, you take the weekend off, and you relax into it afterwards. For me, the writer's block, the inability to write, happens in the weeks leading up to starting a book. Start slowly, because of my schedule, I have a condensed period of time in between each books where I don't have to write. And so that's nice, and you relax, and you never stop. You're always thinking of ideas, you're always planning things and jotting things down, but it's to get that ball rolling, to get into to start the next book, that takes a few weeks. But yeah, you just relax into it. The advantage that I have that others don't is that I have a contract. And I have readers who are waiting, so that forces me to actually take it seriously and to sit down. And even if I'm not feeling like I have to write, I have to write. Just Joey, what's the difference between a cradle of magic and normal countries? A cradle of magic is where all the trouble is focused. Essentially, it's where in legend the big moments happened, where magic began. So having it begin in Australia and Africa, obvious, right? And I had it begin in Ireland as well, because come on, I have to. So yeah, there's it's just an area where things get started, because there's a focus of magic here that other normal countries, they don't have. It's hard to explain, but I understand it in my head. Hey Shaw, just wanted to say thank you for Valkyrie being described accurately in her physique to actually match her strength. So good to have a badass lady who isn't a stick figure. Thank you. Well, thank you. Don't know why I'm thanking you. Yeah, thank you for the compliment. Yes, I made, and I didn't want. So articulate. As a fighter, you fight with speed, with a timing, with a know-how, and with strength. So when you see in movies and TV, smaller people taking down bigger people, if they're better than them, that's absolutely fine. But a weaker person will find it very hard to beat a stronger person. So I never liked that, seeing the stick figure take out the hulking professional. So Valkyrie, I've been slowly and steadily building up Valkyrie's physique until she's essentially threatening at all times. Yeah, they're just the kind of people I've trained with over the years, and Yeah, it's something I respect. Physical strength to match her mental strength. Taylor Hutchinson, you write females very well, actually. Thank you. It's refreshing as you don't stereotype them. Thank you very much. I don't know why I always have female main characters. With Valkyrie, fair enough. It was just the most natural thing to have her female for some reason, and then at Demon Road, same thing. I probably because so far what I've written is so close to the horror genre, and horror genre focuses on the female, focuses on the female character, the female hero, the last girl, because in horror, audiences sympathize, they empathize more with the female victim than the male victim, because the male victim, they expect him to stand back up with the fist clenched and to fight, whereas because of society and because of our culture, we don't subconsciously expect the female to stand up and fight. And so in horror, it's usually focused on the female because the audience identifies with that fear. We don't unconsciously expect them to fight in the way that we wouldn't. We expect them to do the smart thing, which is to run, which is what we would do. So the audiences empathize more with female characters in horror, and so I suppose that's where my focus is as well. And I think, especially at the start, I was more willing to allow the female characters to be real, whereas I had a fear that if Stephanie wasn't Stephanie, if Stephanie was Stephen. Hello, cat. That's my cat. Naturally assume that she was Skulduggery's equal immediately, and it's just blossomed from there. I also prefer writing women. I haven't a clue why. Nia, will you ever come to Bulgaria? And also, finally someone is naming their future children after me? Will I ever come to Bulgaria? I would expect so. I really like my publishers over there. They're very enthusiastic, very fun, very creative, and yeah, some of the covers that I've seen, glorious stuff. So yeah, probably. I haven't a clue when, but most probably at some stage. Is China short? China's normal height, but I do like the idea at some stage in the future of revisiting them and seeing how they are. Yeah. Taylor again. How long does it take to write a book on average? It takes about 6 months. About 6 months. I wrote the Demon Road books in I wrote one of those books in a month, and it was because we were publishing every 6 months, and so I didn't have my 6 months to write them. I only had, that was horrible. So looking back, I look back on the Skulduggery books with fondness, but the Demon Road books, I don't look back with the same, because that was a battle, every one of them, to get it finished on time. So I have yet to go back and revisit them, even though I adore the characters. But I just have hellish memories of the actual writing. Jackson Brown, is Gordon based on you? No, Jackson, he isn't based on me. Gordon's a middle-aged idiot, okay? I am utterly cool and young and vibrant. No, he's not. How dare you? Get off this chat. Get. Darkess is best. What is the inspiration behind Darkess? Years before Skulduggery, I had an idea of a hero who realizes halfway through the story that he is bound to become the villain. And when I came up with Skulduggery, I packed all of my ideas into this series. And so he became she. And so she realizes halfway through that, oh my God, I'm the bad guy. And Darkess, I don't know. She's essentially now she's a god. And I mean, I suppose there was a bit of Jean Grey from X-Men. There's a bit of Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen. There's a lot of comic influences on Darkess, which is, so she's able to fly. I really leaned into that. She's a very comic book villain. Grace McNamara, what is your Hogwarts house? I took the test and it's Slytherin. A lot of you will not be surprised at that. Dara DM, what discipline would you choose? I've thought about this a lot, and I would be a teleporter. Because I'd never have to get on another plane, never have to stay in another hotel. I could just arrive and do the thing and then come back. But also in the context of the books, being a teleporter is probably the best power to have. Because if you can fight and if you're ruthless, I don't think there's anyone who can actually stop a teleporter. So yeah. Taylor questions asked, do you write the place? I would have my plot, my bare bones of the plot, and I'd write the big scenes, the coolest scenes, the scenes that instantly appeared to me. And those scenes would, require me to write scenes after and scenes before in order to link up with everything else. And those scenes would require more. And so the plot would keep on growing out until the book was done. And that's how it used to be. With the latest books, I've started to go from beginning to end. Because I don't need to fool my attention span anymore. In the early books I did, my attention span would wander. But I don't need to do that anymore because I'm confident. I'm more confident in myself. So I can start off at the start and go until the end. I will miss out bits. If I don't want to write another fight scene, I'll leave it blank and I'll go on, or a conversation, or if I haven't figured out how this scene gets to this scene, I'll leave that blank. But really, I'll just go from the start to the beginning and then go back and fill in the blanks. Maren Anderson, how much of the series have you planned out when you wrote the first book? I planned out the first 9, not the individual stories of each book, but the overall. Planned out the first 9, actually more like the first. And we're really only now, actually, yeah, in Bedlam was I think the moment when I reached the end of my original plan. Now I'm I'm operating on how dialogue isn't. Well, thank you, Jimmy. Dialogue is my thing. I completely accept that. I'm trying to have other things, but there are writers who can write rings around me, and I don't have a chance. But dialogue, I'm confident in myself when it comes to dialogue. How it's good, how it's so good, I don't know. I'm funny. I'm a funny person, but I think I have an extra added advantage over most writers because I have a stammer and I have a stutter. This thing. So I grew up on fast talking movies and stuff like Humphrey Bogart and all the film noir, all of the screwball comedies, the Cary Grants, all the old black and white stuff that in my day, in my childhood, used to be shown on Saturday afternoons. And I'd sit down and I'd watch them, and the people would talk like that. And everyone was impossibly witty and impossibly intelligent. And I was a kid with a stammer. And I was looking at this and going, I can't be like that. I was just in awe. In school, you're standing around in a group and you're all talking, you're all chatting, and I would have the perfect comeback or the perfect joke to something that's someone said, but I didn't voice it because I knew by the time I did, the joke would be over. It would take me so long to get it out. So I grew up, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I grew up with kind of awe for people who can talk fast and a respect for words, because I wasn't able to use them how I wanted to. I could write them, but I couldn't speak them. So dialogue became, this kind of thing for me, this kind of thing that I something I can never have. So I kind of worshipped it, and then I'm firmly convinced that my aptitude for it in writing arises because of it was something I could never do. So yeah. Matthew Rivera one. Will you ever do a book tour in Australia? If you do come, I'd have you sign all my books, and I would sign them with relish. I've done a few tours of Australia and New Zealand. Always fun, hectic, a lot of travel. Not too fond of that part of stuff of being on tour, but to actually be there, to actually meet the readers, to meet you guys and to sign your books and to pose for pictures and have a laugh, that's fun. I haven't been back in a few years. I think I've been 3 times. I haven't been back in a few years because it's a significant amount of effort. It's not just the 3 weeks you're there. It's the 2 or 3 weeks leading up to it, the 2 or 3 weeks recovering from it. That's 2 months, 2-3 months can easily slip by, and that's 3 months of not being able to write. Which, yeah, but I do love Australia. I do love New Zealand. One of my best friends is in New Zealand, and he moved over there, where he got married and had kids. Like, loser. Messages deleted, probably because you asked a spoiler question. Oh my god! Come on, guys. Okay, I normally would, if I were any other kind of writer, I would take this moment to read chat. And Mary, is it Mary? I don't remember when I first read the books, probably around 2011 or so. Is that Mary or Mary? I can never tell. Oh, you're all having chats. Owen. Hi, Owen. You're 50 pages in. I have to say, they are the best 50 pages. The rest of it is pretty much blank. So it's a kind of a choose your own adventure where you fill in the blanks and you decide what happens after I think page 54. Everything else is blank. What time is it? It's 9. Okay, we have 10 minutes. 10 minutes left. Do you have any more questions? Oh dear, what have I done? I've done something. No. Okay. Any movie? The Last Outcast. Do you have any movie recommendations? Depends what age you are. Jaws. Jaws. Always. And Jaws is one of those movies where when it's on TV, I can't flip by. I have to sit down, no matter where it is, the start, middle, or the end. I have to sit down. And if you are of an age which is 18 or older, Evil Dead 2, brilliant. The Descent, I was just talking about The Descent yesterday. If you like horror, It Follows is wonderful. Only if you're over 18. Derek, okay, how do I slow down this chat? Someone asked me, would I ever, at Dusk, asked me, would I ever kill Valkyrie? I would, if the story demanded it. That would be the end. That would be the end of the Skulduggery series, if Valkyrie died. Kiripov, is it true that I know martial arts? Yes. I have a black belt in Kenpo karate, and for the last 10 years, I've been doing a form of self-defense that doesn't actually have a name, and it's not technically martial arts, but it's horrible, nasty, eye-gouging stuff. You can see the evolution in my approach to fighting in the books, because it starts out with martial arts, and as we follow Valkyrie through, she goes from being a street martial artist to what is known as cage fighting with jiu-jitsu and that kind of stuff, and evolving into what I do, which is just the ugliest form of fighting, in which you're guaranteed practically to win, because you keep going for the head. No matter what happens, you get that head and you destroy it. Deviator. Favorite side character in the past? It has been Scapegrace. Yeah. I would leave his chapters blank, and just when I finish the book, I then go back and go, okay, now what does Scapegrace pin up to while all this is happening? He was a blast. Emmanuel, how were the Faceless Ones created in the first place? I think I'm going to explain that in the next book, or not explain it, but at least give you a hint, because there are things that I'm never going to explain, but I think I'm due to explain that. So, in the next book. Catherine Prince, could someone change their taken name if they decided they no longer liked it? Absolutely. Yep, 100%. And in fact, we have that in Bedlam with one of the characters who decides that's not who I am anymore. Mellifluous decided, no, I'm going to be somebody new, and they became somebody new. Hello, Kitty. Dana Lewis, will we ever get light friendship moments between Tanith and Val like the first few books, or have they changed too much? Good question. I don't know. I would like to, because they were some of my favorite bits. But the person Valkyrie is now, even opposed to what at time it's done, the person that Valkyrie is now, she's trying to get back for the last few books because of everything that's been happening with Valkyrie. One of the big questions is, come on, I just want to go back to Valkyrie and Skulduggery as they were, as, you know, just the banter, the fun, without all the torment. And Valkyrie, for the last few books, has been on a journey back towards that. She's never going to reach that, because who she was at 17 is not who she is at 27. She's gone through too much, but she's allowing herself to be happy. But that's an ongoing process with anyone who has suffered from depression, even anxiety, panic attacks. It takes its toll, and you've got to understand that you're not the same person you were 10 years ago, and Valkyrie isn't. But hopefully, they will be able to get back to something, because that was, they were good times. Sarah asked, my favorite thriller, probably Silence of the Lambs. The movie is more horror, and the book is horror as well. But I would class that as horror thriller. Seven is glorious. Another one of those movies I have to watch whenever it's on. Circa asks, will a certain character ever be back? When I kill characters, it's usually for good. Usually. Sorry. How does aging work in the magic world? Asked Lollipop03. Lollipop, magic slows down aging. And now it can be different for different sorcerers depending on the kind of magic they have. The use of magic slows down the aging process. People still age, but at different times, and sometimes at different rates throughout their own lives. Basically, for me, it gives me the excuse to have young people, have old people in the bodies of young people. And if I want to, I have an old person, like wise beard, blah, blah, blah. It basically, I get to pick and choose when I want this rule to apply. Disney Sonic 91. What kind of games do I play? Platformers, puzzle, action, or RPG? Action mostly. RPG, I'm playing The Witcher right now. I've got last two Hitman games lined up. I don't have an awful lot of time to play video games anymore because I can't justify that amount of free time, because if I have free time, I'm generally writing. But yeah. Okay, we're going to have to round up. Lewis Ravenscroft. If you had to make a new spin-off book, who would it focus on? Oh, well, see, originally when I did the Maleficent 7, I wanted to do 3 of them, and I wanted to come back with Tanith and a new team every time. Ran out of time. But yeah, if I could go back and restructure my years, I would put those in. Neve Oldacre, how do I come up with sorcerers' names? What you do is when this video gets put up, you go back to the start of it, and I do answer that, I swear. I knew. Romy G. Kia ora. Hey! I know that. What 3 characters from Skulduggery would you want to quarantine with? Valkyrie. Not Skulduggery. I think Skulduggery would drive everyone mad. I think he would drive everyone mad. Yeah. Valkyrie Tanith would be so much fun. As in before phase 1 Tanith. And I don't know, scapegrace? The smell. Will we ever meet Hopeless and Larrikin? Where was that? My chat just... Who asked that? I can't even find who asked that. DNMZ, do I ever regret what happened to Stephanie, the reflection? Yeah. I mean, I don't regret writing it, but I regret that it had to be written. Yeah. I mean, I feel bad killing most of the characters because I really like them. Do I miss writing any of the characters I've killed? Asks Stalik Pitenko. I don't know if I'm pronouncing Stalik right. Yeah, I do. I miss writing. I miss them. Not going to say who I miss because some people might be not as advanced through the books. But yeah, I do. Will we find out more about the Knight of Knives? Why did this character have to die? Probably not. I mean, there are some things I will explain, some things I want to explain, some things no. It's just nastier if you don't know. Okay, we're at 10 o'clock. Be winding up. There's so many questions. Harina asks, how many winners am I going to choose? 20, 60, 100? There will be less than 20 because I get a box of books, but not a box of books. Aragog, will there be any more spin-offs? I don't think I'll have time. I mean, maybe, but I don't think I have time. Maybe, though. No. Tilly, have you had enough of torturing Tanith now? Maybe. I think she's been through a lot. Yeah. Comics Theory, what does Skulduggery sound like in my head? Can I do an impression? I can't do an impression. Skulduggery sounds like me. Velvet voiced. My kind of accent, a deeper voice, kind of like an Irish Patrick Stewart, maybe. Dusk, please give us all Skulduggery back. Skulduggery. Hello, groomer. Mwah. You gonna say hello to the people? Huh? You're gonna say no? You cannot climb up on my chest. No, you cannot. Oh dear Lord. What was Skulduggery? Wait, who asked that? Dusk, please give us all Skulduggery back. He's there. Kind of. Just Joey, are we ever going to see the Black Cleaver? Probably not. Neve Glass. What's my favorite type of Play-Doh? Personally, I like Cruisers. I Cruisers too. They're the best ones to cook with. And they make the best roast potatoes. Aiden asked, do I have any thoughts on Matt Reeves' Batman? I think as long as we look at it like the evolution, like he's starting out, then yeah, I have some issues with the costume. It's too armored. But I think Pattinson will be a good Batman, and I love the car. Oh my god. Okay, I'm just going to skim through these. I wish I could answer everything, but I don't have time, and we have to stop it. Any background for Gasly's dad? Says Haley. No, there's none, actually. Dog person or a cat person? Asked Disney. Disney Sonic. I am a dog person. I didn't mean that. Edalad, I love the way all your characters change realistically depending on their experiences. Thank you. I think it's important to have the consequences of the traumatic events I put them through. I don't think I should have someone tortured and then be absolutely fine about it afterwards. I've been in enough bad situations to know after you're in danger and after you're physically hurt, the adrenaline, what that feels like. Yeah, okay. Sarah, 7 is great. It is. Okay, I'm just going to skip to the end. Taris, do you know when the ebook will be available for New Zealand and Australia? I don't. It is available from some places, and I don't know why there is a problem with it. I really don't. It's an ebook. How difficult is it to make it available? But there's a problem with it. We're trying to figure it out. What you've got to understand, what you absolutely understand, but what I had to understand is that the lockdowns aren't just affecting the things you would assume. Like the physical books, I think we can all understand why some of you are finding it hard to get the books because you can't go to the bookstore, because maybe the online places have used up their stocks and they're waiting for new shipments, but the books aren't being shipped. So we can all understand why physical items might not be getting into our hands, but you got to understand, or I've got to understand and accept that it's the same with everything. Yes, an ebook isn't a physical item, but the people who make sure it's available, they're people, they're human. They might not be able to work, they might be short-staffed, they might be this or that, and it accumulates and it snowballs. So whereas there's a problem with the ebook, 6 months ago would be fixed like that, not anymore. So yeah. Neve, anxiety, depression, PTSD are all things I've struggled with, and reading Valkyrie dealing with it kind of helped in a way. So it's nice to have someone to relate to. You don't feel so alone. Valkyrie in phase 1 was based on a friend of mine called Laura, and Laura is intimidating. She still is. She's at 30. She is expecting her first child in a few weeks. And so phase 1 Valkyrie was just strong, like Valkyrie. Phase 2 Valkyrie, I needed her to be a lot more human, a lot more vulnerable. So she's, I take inspiration from my girlfriend, who has her own things going on, and I've seen how she coped with that, and I've spoken with psychologists, and I've done a little bit of research here and there, and the cat is, you can't see it, but staring at me on the screen. So these things are serious, and in the books they're the consequences of magical and villainous action, but in real life they're the result of real people. So it's important to take it seriously, and so I'm glad that you're finding some solace in Valkyrie. And thank you. Okay. Okay. Good God. It's 10 past. Okay. No, I have to stop. I have to stop. I'm getting so many. Does to the Witcher? Okay. I don't know why you're singing that, Neve, but oh, because I said Witcher. That's right. Okay. Now I have to stop this because I've got things to do. I have things to do. I wish I could, Ellie Mae. Have I read the Mortal Instruments? No, I haven't. Should I? Manuel, any remaining facts for Abyssinia? She is nicer than I thought she would be. She surprised me. That's not a fact. Well, it is a fact, but it's not a fact about her. It's a fact about me. Does please a prequel to the Boars? I don't think so. I don't think so. I have a aversion to prequels. Don't I, Groomer? Yes, yes, I do. Evil more minutes. Bye. Yes. Okay. Bye. So who said bye to me? Black Butler. Okay. Bye, Black Butler. Simon Wright. Skeletons. Nice. Okay. Bye, guys. Bye, DNMZ. Potential cast for Skulduggery movie. I'm not gonna say. Not gonna say. Any tips, Ellie, for starting out? Write what you want to write. Have fun. It sounds stupid. It does. But fun is contagious. If a writer has fun writing, the reader will have fun reading. They will pick up on the vibe of the page. I have fun writing these books. I think that's pretty obvious. So I pack them full of everything that I want to write about, not what I think the reader wants to read, what I want to write. Okay. Right. Okay. I have to go. I have to go. Yeah. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in to myself and Groomer on this lovely, kind of hazy spring morning here in Ireland. Thank you so much for all your comments. I wish I could just take 3-4 hours and spend it just answering you, but I can't because some of us have a job to do. Not me, obviously. Okay, bye, guys. I'm just gonna end the stream. Okay. Look at all those little hearts. Oh, and the skeletons. Okay. Yes, I want to end my stream. Good God. Okay, say goodbye to people. Say goodbye.